Undine, everything you thought you knew about history is wrong. A 28,000-year-old secret challenges humanity's true origins. This colossal discovery rewrites 20,000 years of human civilization. Yet powerful forces tried to suppress its astonishing forbidden truth. Newly discovered chambers vibrate with energies beyond imagination. Stay with us, the most shocking revelations are yet to come. In 2025, a profound secret may surface. The world's oldest pyramid, an immense structure, entombed for 28,000 years, is now being unearthed. This colossal monument, if validated, could rewrite humanity's entire origin story. It suggests our Ice Age ancestors commanded advanced, previously unimaginable technology. Yet whispers suggest global elites and skeptical scientists conspire to suppress its truth. They retract groundbreaking evidence, halting crucial excavations to obscure our true past. Envision colossal stones vibrating with enigmatic frequencies, echoing forgotten energies. These energies could unlock boundless power, perhaps even interstellar secrets for humanity. All this is interwoven with cataclysmic flood myths and ancient legends. The site is deeply tied to the fabled lost continents of Atlantis and Mu. Is this proof of an ancient apocalypse that obliterated a superior civilization? Its survivors might have rebuilt humanity in the shadows, guarding ancient knowledge. After explosive findings captivated the world, why was research abruptly silenced? Excavations were frozen amidst rumors of cover-ups by powerful institutions. Are they fearful of what lost knowledge humanity might rediscover? Answers all questions now emerge from Gunung Padang, West Java, Indonesia. This unassuming hill has ignited one of archaeology's fiercest battles today. No mere relic, this pyramid predates Egypt's Giza by over 20,000 years. It challenges everything from evolution to human civilization's linear progression. If its deepest layers are 28,000 years old, who built it? Were they simply hunter-gatherers, or did they possess knowledge of metallurgy, astronomy, and sonic engineering that rivals our modern achievements? Picture this: concealed beneath layers of earth and dense vegetation, sophisticated geophysical scans reveal symmetrical terraces, subterranean voids that might be ritual chambers or energy conduits, and basalt columns arranged with a precision that defies natural geological formation. But the true enigma lies deeper. These stones subtly vibrate at frequencies aligning with ancient musical scales, potentially harnessing Earth's magnetic fields for purposes we can only speculate. Levitation of megaliths, profound healing rituals, or even communication with distant cosmos. The high-stakes drama intensified in 2023 when Dr. Danny Hilman Natawujaja, a leading geologist from Indonesia's National Research and Innovation Agency, published a bombshell paper in the journal Archaeological Prospection. His team, equipped with ground-penetrating radar, seismic tomography, and core drilling, uncovered three distinct construction phases. The uppermost layer dated from 2,500 to 3,500 years ago, a middle stratum from 7,500 to 8,300 years old, and the deepest, most astonishing layer at 25,000 to 28,000 years before present. This placed Gunung Padang firmly in the Upper Paleolithic era, a period when, according to conventional textbooks, humans were painting caves and chipping flint tools, not erecting multi-layered pyramids spanning over 150,000 square meters. The paper argued these were not random rock piles, but deliberate architecture, complete with hidden cavities that could house artifacts, proving advanced societal organization. Yet, almost immediately, the backlash erupted like a volcano, the very geological force that shaped the site's andesite blocks. Critics, including prominent archaeologists from across the globe, dismissed the claims as really weak, accusing the team of misinterpreting soil samples and overlooking natural erosion patterns. By March 2024, the journal retracted the paper, citing a major error in associating radiocarbon dates from organic soil with human activity. The editors contended there was no direct link between the dated material and specific artifacts, implying the site's ancient layers might be purely geological, not man-made. Dr. Natarawijaya and his colleagues fiercely countered, insisting the retraction was premature and disregarded their comprehensive geophysical evidence, which clearly showed artificial symmetries and voids incompatible with natural processes. They labeled it an act of academic censorship, designed to protect entrenched paradigms that refused to acknowledge pre-Ice Age civilizations. This retraction did not end the saga. Instead, it amplified the conspiracy theories swirling like mist over the jungle canopy. Why retract a peer-reviewed study without allowing a full rebuttal? This question beckoned entry into a shadowy world of alleged suppression, where some whisper that global institutions, funded by governments and elite foundations, guard secrets that could utterly upend society. If Gunung Padang proves humans built pyramids during the Ice Age, it irrevocably dismantles the narrative of gradual evolution, suggesting instead a cyclical history of rises and falls, punctuated by devastating cataclysms. Investigative journalist Graham Hancock, whose Netflix series Ancient Apocalypse spotlighted the site in 2022, connects it to a global network of anomalies. These include the underwater ruins of Yonaguni in Japan, with their sharp-angled steps and enigmatic carvings, Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, where 11,000-year-old pillars depict advanced symbolism, and even the eroded Sphinx, potentially far older than Egypt's pharaohs, depict advanced symbolism, and even the eroded Sphinx, potentially far older than Egypt's pharaohs. Hancock theorizes a mother civilization flourished 12,000 years ago, only to be decimated by comet strikes or melting glaciers flooding lowlands like Sunderland, the now submerged continent, linking Indonesia to Asia during lower sea levels. Survivors, he claims, scattered, seeding myths of Atlantis in Plato's dialogues and the Pacific's lost Mu, a land of enlightened beings, chronicled by 19th-century explorers like James Churchward. Fueling these speculations are the site's bizarre acoustic phenomena. Tests reveal stones emitting high-frequency resonances eerily matching Pythagorean harmonics and modern Western tunings. Could this be evidence of sonic technology akin to Nikola Tesla's resonance experiments, or ancient legends of sound-moving megalithic stones? Theorists posit the pyramid functioned as a giant oscillator, tapping geomagnetic energy for power generation or consciousness expansion, knowledge perhaps imparted by extraterrestrial visitors, as ancient astronaut proponents suggest. Local Sundanese folklore adds further layers, with tales of a mountain of enlightenment built by divine kings, a sanctuary amidst a great flood that eerily mirrors Noah's Ark, the Epic of Gilgamesh, and indigenous stories worldwide. What if this flood was real? A memory of the Younger Dryas impact event around 12,000 years ago, when sea levels rose 120 meters, drowning advanced coastal societies. Fast forward to 2025, and the plot thickens. In February, Indonesia's culture minister Fadli Zon publicly urged renewed investigations into Gunung Padang, citing the ongoing debates as a call for clarity. By July, the government announced plans to restore the site in stages, beginning this year with studies preceding physical work. This move comes amid a viral social media frenzy, including debunked AI-generated images portraying the hill as a pristine pyramid bursting from the jungle. Yet, skeptics persist, insisting it's merely a natural volcanic plug with later megalithic additions from 2,000 to 5,000 years ago. Meanwhile, excavations have yielded tantalizing artifacts, coins predating known currency by millennia, cement mixtures with iron and silica, hinting at pre-Iron Age metallurgy, and tools suggesting oceanic trade networks. These finds evoke a society that aligned structures with stars, perhaps for navigation or rituals, long before recorded history. As Indonesian authorities mobilize for fresh digs, we stand on the brink. Will new evidence vindicate Dr. Natarawijaya, unveiling chambers filled with lost technology or star maps? Or will it confirm the critics, relegating Gunung Padang to a footnote of natural wonder? More provocatively, what if the site's energies, those humming stones, are activating now, synchronizing with global shifts, like climate anomalies or unexplained phenomena, signaling a rediscovery timed precisely for our era? Could hidden forces be orchestrating the delay, fearing humanity's readiness for truths about alien influences, nuclear-like ancient wars, or a great reset echoing past apocalypses? These profound questions linger unanswered, pulling us deeper into the unknown, where history's veil thins and the impossible beckons. Deep in the heart of West Java's verdant highlands, where mist clings to ancient trees and the air hums with unspoken secrets, lies a place that has captivated the imaginations of locals for generations. Gunung Padang, the mountain of enlightenment, is more than a geographical feature. It is a living tapestry of myths woven into the fabric of Sundanese culture. Tales passed down through oral traditions speak of divine kings, overnight miracles, and a profound connection to the spiritual realm. For the indigenous people of Karya Mukti village, this hill has long been revered as a site of power, a nexus where the earthly and the ethereal converge. Legends whisper that it was here, amidst the volcanic soil and towering ferns, that King Siliwangi, the semi-mythical ruler of the Pajajaran kingdom in the 15th century, attempted an audacious feat, constructing a grand palace in a single night. According to these stories, Siliwangi, a figure blending historical fact with supernatural lore, summoned powerful forces to aid him, but as dawn broke, the structure remained unfinished, frozen in time as a terraced monument to ambition and the limits of mortal endeavor. Some versions of the tale suggest he was thwarted by jealous spirits or divine intervention, leaving behind a labyrinth of stone terraces that echo with the frustration of unfulfilled destiny. Others portray it as a deliberate act of enlightenment, a pyramid-like edifice designed to channel cosmic energies, aligning with the stars to grant wisdom to those who ascend its slopes. These narratives are not mere folklore. They pulse with a deeper resonance, hinting at forgotten rituals and ancestral veneration. Villagers speak of Gunung Padang as a Ponten Berundak, a stepped terrace sacred in Sundanese tradition, where offerings are made to appease the spirits of the land. It is said that the stones themselves hold memories, vibrating with subtle energy that can heal the sick or reveal visions to the pure of heart. In quieter moments, elders recount how the mountains served as a refuge during times of turmoil, a high ground where survivors of ancient floods gathered. Their stories mirror global deluge myths, but are rooted in the specific topography of Sundaland. This submerged continent, once connecting Indonesia to mainland Asia, fuels speculation that Gunung Padang's terraces are remnants of a pre-flood sanctuary, built by a people who understood the rhythms of the earth far better than we do today. The name itself, Padang, meaning field or plain, but in this context evoking enlightenment, suggests a site for spiritual ascension where shamans once conducted ceremonies under the full moon, invoking ancestors to guide the living. Yet beneath these enchanting tales lurks a shadow of intrigue. Why have such stories persisted so vividly, as if guarding a truth too profound for casual revelation? It was into this intricate web of legend that European explorers first stumbled, their arrival marking the collision of colonial ambition with indigenous mystery. In the year 1914, during the height of Dutch colonial rule over the East Indies, a historian and archaeologist named Nicolaas Johannes Krom ventured into the dense jungles surrounding Cianjur. Krom, a meticulous scholar affiliated with the Dutch Archaeological Service, was drawn by rumors circulating among plantation owners and local guides, whispers of peculiar stone formations hidden on a remote hilltop. The Netherlands East Indies were a treasure trove for European antiquarians, who often romanticized the archipelago's ruins as echoes of lost grandeur. But Gunung Padang presented something altogether different. As Krom hacked through the undergrowth, the air thick with humidity and the calls of exotic birds, he encountered a series of massive basalt columns and terrace platforms, overgrown yet unmistakably arranged by human hands. These were no random boulders. They formed deliberate steps ascending the hill, flanked by walls that hinted at enclosures for rituals or gatherings. In his report for the Rapporten van der Oudheidkundige Dienst, Krom described the site as a megalithic complex, possibly a prehistoric sanctuary, and urged further investigation. He noted the local reverence, tying it to tales of King Siliwangi, but his words carried an undercurrent of dismissal, viewing the indigenous myths as quaint embellishments on what he assumed was a relatively recent construction. What Krom could not have known, or perhaps chose to ignore, was the site's potential to upend Eurocentric views of history. In an era when colonial powers justified their dominance by portraying Asian societies as primitive, acknowledging a sophisticated megalithic structure predating European monuments would have been inconvenient. Conspiracy whispers suggest that Dutch authorities deliberately downplayed the discovery, burying Krom's report in bureaucratic archives to avoid empowering nationalist sentiments among Indonesians. After all, if Gunung Padang proved an ancient engineering marvel, it might inspire claims that Southeast Asian civilizations rivaled or surpassed those of the West, fueling independence movements already simmering in the early 20th century. Krom's plea for a professional expedition went unheeded. The site faded into obscurity, its terraces reclaimed by vines and moss, as if the mountain itself conspired to remain hidden. For decades, it slumbered, known only to locals who continued their pilgrimages, leaving offerings of flowers and incense at the stones, perpetuating rituals that blended Hindu-Buddhist influences with animist beliefs. The king's unfinished palace became a metaphor for an interrupted legacy, a place where time folded upon itself, preserving enigmas for a future generation to unravel. The veil lifted once more in 1979, not through scholarly pursuit, but by the serendipity of everyday life. 3 local farmers, NDS and Aberdeen, were tending their fields on the hill's flanks when they stumbled upon exposed stone walls and peculiar alignments buried under layers of soil and vegetation. What began as a routine day in the rice paddies transformed into a moment of profound realization. These were no natural outcrops, but the remnants of something monumental. Intrigued by the symmetry and scale, they alerted authorities, igniting a chain of events that brought Gunung Padang back into the spotlight. Indonesia, having gained independence in 1949, was in the throes of nation-building, eager to reclaim its cultural heritage from colonial narratives. The government's Bureau of Archaeology dispatched teams to survey the site, confirming Krom's earlier observations, but expanding them with fresh eyes. Excavations revealed over 400 andesite columns, some weighing hundreds of kilograms, arranged in 5 distinct terraces, spanning thousands of square meters. The farmers' discovery resonated with the legends they grew up with, as if King Siliwangi's spirit had guided their hands to unearth his legacy. As archaeologists mapped the terraces, they uncovered subtle clues that amplified the site's mystique, alignments possibly oriented towards solstices, suggesting astronomical knowledge, and buried offerings that echoed the spiritual practices still observed today. Local shamans interpreted the rediscovery as a sign, a call from the ancestors to protect the mountain from exploitation. Yet even in this moment of revelation, shadows of doubt crept in. Why had the site been overlooked for so long? Some theorists posit that colonial maps intentionally omitted detailed surveys, part of a broader strategy to suppress indigenous pride and extract resources without cultural interference. The 1979 findings, while exciting, were initially dated to a modest 2,500 to 1,500 years before the Common Era, fitting neatly into accepted timelines, but failing to capture the deeper antiquity hinted at by the legends. This conservative estimate allowed the site to slip back toward obscurity, its true depths unexplored, waiting for bolder minds to probe further. What if these early encounters were mere preludes to greater revelations? The legends of overnight construction and divine intervention might encode memories of advanced techniques lost to time, sound waves to shape stone, or communal efforts spanning generations disguised as miracles. As we peel back the layers of history and myth, Gunung Padang emerges not just as a physical structure, but as a puzzle box, each terrace unlocking questions about humanity's forgotten ingenuity. The farmer's chance find in 1979 bridged the gap between folklore and fact, setting the stage for controversies that would challenge our understanding of the past. As we delve deeper into Gunung Padang's enigma, let us immerse ourselves in the tangible wonders that define this site, dissecting its physical form layer by layer, stone by stone. What makes this hill so profoundly unsettling to our understanding of prehistory is its defiant architecture, a sprawling complex of terraces, chambers, and alignments that seem engineered with a precision defying the chaos of nature. Spanning an estimated 150,000 square meters, larger than many modern stadiums, Gunung Padang unfolds across 5 visible terraces, each a plateau of mystery rising toward the summit. These are no gentle inclines. They are deliberate steps hewn from volcanic andesite and basalt, materials forged in the fiery bowels of ancient eruptions. The lowest terrace alone stretches over a vast expanse, dotted with hundreds of column stones, some as tall as a person and weighing up to 300 kilograms, arranged in patterns that evoke ritual enclosures or astronomical markers. As one moves upward, the terraces narrow, creating a stepped pyramid silhouette that echoes distant cousins like Mexico's Teotihuacan or Peru's Caral, yet predating them by eons if the boldest claims hold true. The journey between these levels is facilitated by a central staircase, a monumental path comprising 370 steps carved directly into the bedrock and flanked by retaining walls that have withstood millennia of tropical rains and seismic tremors. This is not a mere trail, it is a processional route, wide enough for groups to ascend in formation, perhaps for ceremonies under the stars. Today, local guides describe climbing it as a meditative ordeal, where the rhythm of footfalls synchronizes with the mountain's subtle hum, a vibration felt through the soles, hinting at deeper resonances. But the surface is just the beginning. Geophysical surveys employing ground-penetrating radar and electrical resistivity tomography have peeled back the Earth's skin to reveal hidden strata, a subterranean world that transforms Gunung Padang from a hill into a labyrinth. The uppermost unit, dubbed Unit 1, consists of those visible terraces, built with loosely stacked columns and dated preliminarily to between 500 and 1500 years before the Common Era through surface erosion analysis and artifact associations. Yet as probes delve deeper, Unit 2 emerged at depths of 3 to 5 meters, a more compacted layer of rocks and soil, showing signs of intentional filling and alignment, with carbon dates pushing back to 7,500 to 8,300 years ago. Then comes the heartstopper, Unit 3, buried 15 meters down, a dense matrix of fractured basalt and ancient sediments yielding radiocarbon results from 25,000 to 28,000 years before present. This layer is not haphazard. Scans depict rectangular voids, possible chambers or tunnels, extending laterally into the hillside, their walls suggesting human modification through fracturing and positioning. Seismic profiles indicate these spaces could span dozens of meters, potentially housing undiscovered relics or serving as acoustic amplifiers, given the site's peculiar sound properties. And lurking even deeper, at depths exceeding 20 meters, hints of a fourth unit emerge, fractured bedrock with anomalous cavities that some interpret as the foundational core, possibly natural but co-opted by early builders for stability. The entire edifice rests atop an extinct volcanic plug, a natural pedestal that elevates it above the surrounding plains, as if chosen deliberately for its commanding view and geological resilience. This layered construction evokes a palimpsest, where successive generations added to an original blueprint, each era imprinting its mark while honoring the ancient base. What fuels the endless curiosity here is how these structures challenge our preconceptions of technological timelines. Consider the stones themselves, hexagonal basalt columns reminiscent of Ireland's Giant's Causeway, but relocated and reoriented by human effort. Transporting these behemoths up a 90-meter incline without wheels or beasts of burden implies sophisticated logistics, ramps, levers, or perhaps something more esoteric, like the sonic levitation hinted at in global myths. Preliminary analyses of the site's matrix reveal a cement-like binder in the deeper layers, a mixture of clay, silica, and iron oxides that bonds the rocks with unnatural tenacity. This is not crude mortar. It is a geochemical recipe suggesting early experimentation with adhesives, predating known metallurgy by thousands of years. If Unit 3's dates are accurate, this implies a society during the last glacial maximum, when much of the world was locked in ice, possessed the ability to quarry, shape, and assemble megaliths on a grand scale. Were they observing celestial cycles, aligning terraces to solstices, as later measurements suggest? Or was this a defensive bastion against encroaching seas, perched high on Sunderland's remnants as waters rose? These shocking timelines emerge from a symphony of scientific methods, each adding a note of intrigue. Radiocarbon dating on organic inclusions in the soil cores provides the backbone. Samples from Unit 3, including charred plant matter and pollen, consistently cluster around 28,000 years old, corroborated by optically stimulated luminescence tests on quartz grains, which measure the last exposure to sunlight. These are not isolated readings. Over a dozen cores across the site yield similar results, painting a picture of phased construction spanning the Paleolithic to the Neolithic. Yet the dates ignite fireworks of doubt. Critics argue the organic material could be intrusive, washed in by later floods or burrowing animals, disassociating it from human activity. Proponents counter with the geophysical evidence, the symmetrical anomalies in radar scans, like those rectangular voids, defy natural geology. One such chamber detected at 12 meters depth measures roughly 10 dec 15 meters, its outline too regular for volcanic fissures. What might it contain? Sealed artifacts from a forgotten epoch, skeletal remains of builders who navigated icebound seas, or, as wilder theories propose, repositories of knowledge, etched stones or metallic alloys encoding astronomical data, echoing the Antikythera mechanism, but vastly older. This blend of hard data and speculative wonder draws parallels to other global puzzles, heightening the site's allure. Think of Turkey's Göbekli Tepe, with its T-shaped pillars from 11,000 years ago, also layered and aligned, challenging the hunter-gatherer paradigm, or Japan's Yonaguni, submerged steps that some see as a 20,000-year-old terrace, potentially linked via ancient land bridges. Gunung Padang fits into this mosaic, suggesting a network of megalithic innovators during the Ice Age, perhaps sharing techniques across now-drowned continents. But why the resistance to acceptance here? Threads of conspiracy weave in, subtle yet insistent. Skeptics' swift dismissals, labeling the site as a pseudo-pyramid, smack of institutional inertia, protecting funding streams tied to conventional narratives. Who are protecting funding streams tied to conventional narratives? Some whisper of deeper motives. If Gunung Padang proves advanced Paleolithic engineering, it bolsters theories of extraterrestrial guidance, where star visitors imparted knowledge of resonance and materials science. The site's acoustic anomalies support this, stones emitting frequencies at 440 Hz, matching modern A4 tuning, possibly tuned for harmonic effects. Experiments show these vibrations amplify in the chambers, creating standing waves that could induce altered states or even structural integrity. Is this evidence of alien tech, suppressed by governments fearing public panic, or energy monopolies crumbling under the promise of free sonic power? The 28,000-year timeline aligns with Heinrich Event 2, a period of massive ice sheet collapses and sea level fluctuations, potentially displacing coastal societies inland to high grounds like Gunung Padang. Pollen analysis from cores reveals shifts from glacial flora to tropical, mirroring global warming pulses that might have inspired flood legends. Imagine a people fleeing rising waters, erecting this as a beacon, a ziggurat of survival, its layers added as memories faded. Yet the controversy persists. A 2023 paper in Archaeological Prospection, detailing these findings, was retracted in 2024 amid claims of methodological flaws, but not before sparking global debate. Recent updates in 2025, including Indonesia's Culture Minister Fadli Zon's call for renewed studies in February and plans for staged restoration starting this year, suggest the site won't stay buried in dispute. By July, governmental announcements confirmed restoration efforts, potentially unveiling more chambers and refining dates with advanced techniques like cosmogenic nuclide dating. These developments stir fresh speculation. Will new digs expose metallic artifacts in the deep voids, proving pre-Iron Age smelting, or reveal inscriptions linking to Mu's lost language? As Churchward claimed, conspiracy lenses sharpen the view. Perhaps elite think tanks, aware of the site's energy potential, delay full excavation to harness it privately, echoing Tesla's suppressed inventions. The chambers might hold bioluminescent fungi or quartz crystals amplifying vibrations, natural tech for enlightenment or communication. As pollen records hint at exotic plants not native to Java, did ancient voyagers import them from afar via Sunderland's vast plains? Gunung Padang's structure, with its uncanny symmetries and astounding timelines, stands as a gauntlet thrown at history's feet. Each terrace, each void, beckons with possibilities, an observatory charting comets that doomed their world, or a resonator tuning human minds to cosmic frequencies. The site's resilience, surviving earthquakes that toppled lesser builds, implies earthquake-resistant design, perhaps through flexible joints or sacred geometry. As 2025's restorations unfold, we edge closer to answers. Yet, the questions multiply, drawing us inexorably toward the minds that first envisioned this marvel. From here, the path leads to the visionaries who brought these secrets to light, their battles adding another layer to the pyramid's enduring saga. When Dr. Danny Hilman Natawijaya first set his sights on Gunung Padang in the early 2000s, he was not chasing pyramids or lost civilizations. He was a geologist grounded in the study of earthquakes and tectonic shifts, working for Indonesia's National Research and Innovation Agency. His expertise lay in unraveling the Earth's restless movements, not unearthing human secrets buried beneath them. But something about this unassuming hill in West Java tugged at his scientific curiosity, a nagging sense that its contours hid more than volcanic whimsy. What if the legends whispered by locals were not mere folklore, but echoes of a deeper truth? What anomalies might lurk under the soil, defying the tidy timelines of history? This personal pivot from fault lines to forgotten epochs marked the dawn of a research odyssey that would propel Gunung Padang into global headlines, blending cutting-edge technology with audacious questions about humanity's dawn. Hillman's journey began modestly with field surveys in 2011, funded by the Indonesian government under President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, who saw potential in elevating the nation's ancient heritage. Hillman assembled a multidisciplinary team, geophysicists, archaeologists, and soil experts drawn from institutions like the Indonesian Institute of Sciences and the University of Indonesia. Their toolkit was a far cry from the picks and shovels of early explorers. Instead, they wielded an arsenal of modern marvels designed to peer through Earth without disturbing it. Ground-penetrating radar, or GPR, became their primary eye into the abyss, sending electromagnetic pulses into the ground and mapping reflections from subsurface interfaces. This non-invasive technology, akin to a medical MRI for the planet, revealed density variations that hinted at artificial structures, sharp boundaries where natural rock would blur. Complementing GPR was electrical resistivity tomography, injecting currents into the soil to measure resistance, highlighting voids or man-made fills through contrasting conductivity. Seismic tomography rounded out the triad, using controlled vibrations to chart wave speeds, delineating hidden chambers like a sonic blueprint. These tools unveiled a startling portrait. Beneath the visible terraces lay a stratified behemoth with layers suggesting phased construction over millennia. Hillman's team identified Unit 1 as the surface megaliths, perhaps 2,000 to 3,000 years old. But as probes deepened, Unit 2 emerged at 3 to 5 meters, compact, aligned rocks dated to 7,500 years via carbon samples from embedded organics. The real jolt came with Unit 3 15 meters down, a core of modified basalt yielding dates from 16,000 to 28,000 years before present. Imagine the thrill in the field tent as data streamed in. Rectangular anomalies, suggesting rooms 10 by 15 meters, their walls potentially smoothed by ancient hands. Hillman described these in interviews as man-made cavities, not random fissures, their symmetry too precise for geology's handiwork. But what purpose did they serve? Echo chambers for rituals, storage for arcane knowledge, or, as some pondered, energy conduits tapping geothermal flows? By 2013, Hillman's findings had escalated, prompting a full-scale integrated research team backed by presidential decree. They drilled cores, slender cylinders of earth extracted like time capsules, analyzing sediments for pollen, which traced vegetation shifts from Ice Age grasslands to modern tropics, aligning with global climatic upheavals. Optically stimulated luminescence dating added layers of intrigue, measuring when minerals last saw sunlight, confirming burial timelines that predated known civilizations. Hillman posited Gunung Padang as a pyramid-like structure, not a singular build, but a cumulative effort where later societies revered and expanded upon an ancient core. This hypothesis ignited imaginations. Could the site's acoustic properties, stones resonating at 440 Hz, stem from deliberate tuning, perhaps using these tech scans to detect harmonic voids? Hillman's team even experimented with magnetometers, detecting magnetic anomalies that might indicate metallic inclusions or aligned crystals, fueling whispers of advanced metallurgy. Yet as data accumulated, so did the pushback. Hillman's 2023 paper in Archaeological Prospection detailed these methods. GPR profiles showing layered densities, seismic cross-sections outlining buried architecture, arguing for human intervention as far back as the Paleolithic. The journal's peer reviewers initially green-lit it, but post-publication scrutiny led to retraction in 2024, citing misassociation of dates with artifacts. Hillman contested this vehemently, pointing to unaltered geophysical evidence, the scan's undeniable symmetries. In a statement, he decried it as academic politics, suggesting vested interests in preserving historical orthodoxy. This clash only amplified the site's allure. What if the retraction masked deeper fears? Discoveries of iron-rich cements in cores hinted at pre-Iron Age tech, while pollen suggested non-native plants, implying ancient trade routes across Sunderland's vanished plains. Fast forward to 2025, and Hillman's quest endures, evolving amid fresh developments. In February, Indonesia's Culture Minister Fadli Zon publicly advocated for renewed probes, echoing Hillman's calls to resolve the debates. By July, government plans for staged restoration emerged, prioritizing non-destructive surveys before any digging, potentially employing drone-mounted lidar for high-resolution topography. Hillman, speaking at the Cosmic Summit in June 2025, shared updates on planned explorations of those subterranean chambers. In a podcast with Matt Beals, Limitless, earlier that year, he revealed intentions to map tunnels detected via enhanced seismic arrays, networks of geophones, capturing microtremors, refining images of underground networks, possibly extending hundreds of meters. These could be natural lava tubes repurposed, but Hillman speculates human expansion, perhaps for water channels or ceremonial paths. The technology upgrade includes hyperspectral imaging from satellites, analyzing surface minerals for hidden patterns, and AI-driven data fusion, merging GPR with resistivity for 3D models that predict artifact locations. Hillman's persistence stems from a profound what-if. What if Gunung Padang bridges to a pre-cataclysmic world, where humans harnessed sound and stone in ways we scarcely comprehend? His team's 2025 efforts incorporate bioacoustics, recording stone vibrations with sensitive microphones, correlating them to chamber geometries revealed by tech. Preliminary results suggest amplification effects, where frequencies build in voids, evoking ancient sonic engineering. Could this explain myths of stones singing during rituals, or link to Tesla-inspired theories of resonance as energy? Hillman draws parallels to global sites like Malta's Hypogeum, with its acoustic chambers, proposing a shared ancient knowledge network. Yet obstacles loom: funding cuts post-retraction, and critics like Flint Dibble accusing obstructionism, though Hillman counters with open invitations for joint studies. This year's push includes collaborative ventures, potentially with international teams, using portable muon tomography particle detectors, tracing cosmic rays through rock, mapping densities like X-rays for pyramids. Hillman envisions this unveiling sealed spaces, perhaps containing organics for DNA analysis tracing builder origins. Tantalizingly, social media buzz in mid-2025 highlights AI-generated simulations based on his data, visualizing a bustling Ice Age hub atop the hill. But shadows persist. Why the halt in 2014 under a new administration? Hillman alludes to political pressures, perhaps tied to resource exploitation in the region, where mining interests eye the volcanic riches. Conspiracy undercurrents suggest global suppression, elites wary of paradigm-shifting proofs that humanity cycled through advanced phases erased by floods. Hillman's narrative weaves personal conviction with empirical rigor, his geologist's lens revealing a site where technology illuminates the improbable. In Cosmic Summit Talks, he shared 2025 core samples, showing anomalous quartz alignments, possibly piezoelectric, generating electricity under pressure, hinting at energy-harnessing designs. What forgotten experiments might these enable? Healing fields, communication devices. The curiosity peaks with plans for robotic crawlers in tunnels equipped with cameras and spectrometers, potentially beaming live feeds of discoveries. As Fadley Zon's initiative gained traction, Hillman stands at the forefront, his research a beacon for those questioning history's veil. Yet, the question lingers in unanswered riddles. If chambers yield star maps or encoded scripts, how do they reshape our cosmic place? Hillman's work, bolstered by ever-evolving technology, invites us to wonder if Gunung Padang guards keys to resilience against future cataclysms, lessons from ancestors who stared down ice and flood. His odyssey from tectonic plates to temporal portals underscores a truth: the Earth's whispers, captured by radar and resonance, might just echo humanity's untold symphony. As 2025 unfolds with restoration phases commencing, Hillman's vision propels us toward revelations that could echo eternally. From here, the story branches to the artifacts unearthed, each one a spark in the enigma's flame. Amid the swirling debates and digital echoes of Gunung Padang's contested timelines, a quieter revolution unfolds through the tangible relics pulled from its soil, objects that whisper of ingenuity far beyond the grasp of primitive societies. These supplemental discoveries, emerging piecemeal during excavations and surveys, serve as puzzle pieces in a grander mosaic. Each one challenges us to rethink not just when humans built, but how they innovated in ways that blur the boundaries between ancient craft and modern science. Let us embark on this tactile exploration, artifact by artifact, where every unearthed item sparks a cascade of wonder. Could these be tokens from a vanished epoch, deliberately preserved to signal across millennia, or mere anomalies twisted by time and interpretation? Consider first the enigmatic coins that surfaced during the 2013 digs, items that initially seemed mundane, yet quickly unraveled into profound anomalies. Described in preliminary reports as small metallic discs with faint engravings, these were no ordinary currency. Radiocarbon dating and associated organic residues pegged them to around 5,200 years before the Common Era, over 4,600 years earlier than the earliest known coins from Lydia in modern-day Turkey, dated to 600 years before the Common Era. Hillman's team, sifting through the upper terraces, found these amid clusters of pottery shards and tool fragments, their composition a mix of copper and trace alloys that hinted at deliberate smelting. But the intrigue lies in the symbols, abstract motifs resembling celestial alignments or rudimentary scripts, not unlike those on later Indus Valley seals. Were these proto-coins used for trade across Sunderland's vast, now submerged networks, facilitating exchanges of ideas and goods long before formalized economies? Or, as bolder voices suggest, do they represent symbolic amulets charged with ritual significance to harness the site's resonant energies? One particularly controversial find, a coin-like disc initially misidentified as colonial Dutch, but later scrutinized for deeper provenance, sparked accusations of misdating, with critics claiming it undermined the site's antiquity. Yet proponents argue it could be a layered artifact, reused across eras, embedding a message from Paleolithic origins into historical reuse. This coin controversy dovetails into a broader trove of personal adornments and daily implements, each adding hues to the portrait of Gunung Padang's inhabitants. Excavations in the mid-terraces yielded jewelry, beaded necklaces crafted from polished quartz and obsidian, their facets catching light in ways that evoke deliberate optical effects, perhaps for shamanic visions or as status symbols. These beads, strung on what appears to be preserved fiber cords, date to around 3,000 years before the Common Era, but their sourcing puzzles experts. The obsidian traces to distant volcanic islands, implying seafaring trade routes during a time when sea levels were lower, connecting Indonesia to Melanesia or beyond. Accompanying these were pottery vessels, not crude, hand-formed lumps, but wheel-thrown ceramics with intricate glazes, suggesting kiln technologies predating known Asian innovations by centuries. Fragments bear etched patterns, geometric spirals, and animal motifs that mirror those at Göbekli Tepe, raising eyebrows. Did ideas migrate across continents via ancient mariners, or does this point to a shared, universal symbolism encoded in the human psyche? Tools and weapons further enrich this narrative, transforming Gunung Padang from a static monument to a vibrant hub. Stone axes with honed edges, polished to a sheen that rivals Neolithic standards, emerged from soil cores, their hafts showing remnants of binding resins. But it is the metallic traces on some blades, iron flecks embedded in basalt, that ignite speculation. Dated to 7,000 years before the Common Era, these suggest early experimentation with ore reduction, far preceding the Hittite Iron Age around 1,200 years before the Common Era. Imagine a society perched on this volcanic perch, forging tools from local minerals, perhaps using geothermal heat as natural forges. Weapons like spear points, similarly edged, bear patterns indicating use in hunting or conflict, but their symmetry hints at ceremonial roles. Blades aligned with cardinal directions, possibly for astronomical rituals. These finds, preserved remarkably due to the site's alkaline soils, prompt endless pondering. Were these crafters isolated geniuses, or part of a global web exchanging metallurgical secrets lost when seas rose and sundered connections? At the core of these revelations lies the ancient cement compound, a binding agent that cements Gunung Padang's status as an engineering enigma. Analysis of core samples from the deeper units revealed a mortar-like substance, fusing the basalt columns, a sophisticated blend of clay, silica, and iron oxides, forming a hydraulic cement that hardens underwater or in humid conditions. This is not rudimentary mud. Geochemical tests show controlled firing at temperatures exceeding 800 Celsius, creating a durable matrix resistant to erosion, dated to the staggering 25,000 to 28,000 years, before present in Unit 3. This predates Roman concrete by over 20,000 years and Egyptian lime mortars by millennia. The iron content, sourced from local hematite, suggests intentional doping for strength, akin to modern rebar reinforcement, but achieved through prehistoric alchemy. Hillman's team, in their retracted yet influential paper, posited this as evidence of advanced geochemical knowledge, perhaps derived from observing volcanic processes, mixing ash with clays to create geopolymers. But the intrigue escalates. Lab recreations show this cement conducts subtle electrical charges, tying into the site's magnetic anomalies. Could it have formed part of an energy grid? The pyramid as a capacitor storing geomagnetic power. These material wonders intersect with the site's ethereal acoustics, where stones emit high-frequency tones aligning with Western musical scales. 440 Hz, the A4 standard. Tests using accelerometers during Hillman's surveys captured vibrations amplifying in the buried chambers, creating harmonic overtones that induced trance-like states in listeners. This is not random. The cement's silica content might act as a piezoelectric enhancer, generating voltage under mechanical stress from earth tremors. Ancient builders, attuned to these properties, could have tuned the structure like a massive instrument, using sound for construction, levitating blocks via resonance, as Tibetan legends describe, or for healing, aligning human biofields with Earth's Schumann resonances. Conspiracy angles sharpen here. If this technology predates history, why suppress it? Some theorists link it to suppressed inventions like Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower, suggesting elites hoard such knowledge to maintain fossil fuel dominance. Recent whispers in 2025 forums speculate that restoration plans include acoustic mapping, potentially unveiling chambers as sound healers, echoing Pythagorean mysteries. Linking these artifacts to broader tapestries amplifies their allure. The coin's early dates parallel unverifieds in India's Biharana site, where urban artifacts push back timelines, suggesting parallel evolutions or diffused innovations from a Sunderland cradle. Jewelry motifs resemble those in Australia's Bradshaw paintings, over 20,000 years old, hinting at migratory artists carrying cultural codes. Tools, iron traces, evoke Africa's Nok culture, with early smelting around 2,500 years before the Common Era. But Gunung Padang's precedence implies Africa learned from Asia, or vice versa via lost roots. The cement, meanwhile, mirrors geopolymers in Peru's Puma Punku, where stones fit with laser-like precision, fueling ancient astronaut hypotheses. Did extraterrestrial mentors impart this recipe, encoding it in megaliths worldwide? Yet skepticism shadows these treasures. The 2024 retraction questioned artifact associations, claiming soil dates do not tie directly to human use, perhaps natural accumulations. Critics, like those in Popular Mechanics articles, decry pseudo-archaeology, pointing to misidentified coins as colonial intrusions. Hillman refutes this, citing stratigraphic integrity artifacts sealed in undisturbed layers. In 2025, with restoration phases underway, new digs promise fresh discoveries, perhaps metallic scrolls or resonant crystals. Fadli Zon's February advocacy and July announcements signal momentum, but funding ties to tourism raise eyebrows. Is commercialization diluting science or unveiling truths? These supplemental explorations, coins as economic harbingers, jewelry as cultural bridges, tools as technological precursors, cement as alchemical feats, weave a narrative of ingenuity defying eras. Each item beckons. What lost manuals guided their creation? Do they encode warnings of past floods or blueprints for future survival? As Gunung Padang's relics emerge, they challenge us to listen to the hum of stones, the gleam of metals, unlocking doors to forgotten worlds. This tapestry of tangibles sets the stage for the storms of controversy that followed, where academia's guardians clashed with visionary challengers. In the shadowed halls of academia, where dusty tomes guard the sanctified timelines of human achievement, Gunung Padang has ignited a firestorm that refuses to dim, drawing lines between visionary explorers and staunch defenders of established doctrine. Picture a global symposium, not in grand lecture theaters, but across digital forums and scholarly journals, where voices clash like tectonic plates. On one side, proponents like Danny Hillman Natawidjaja champion evidence of an Ice Age marvel. On the other, a chorus of skeptics decry it as a mirage of misinterpreted data. This intellectual battlefield, simmering since the site's resurgence in the early 2000s, reached a boiling point with the publication and swift retraction of Hillman's landmark paper in October 2023. What began as a peer-reviewed revelation in Archaeological Prospection, detailing layered constructions dating back 28,000 years, unraveled into a saga of accusations, retractions, and renewed calls for scrutiny, leaving observers to wonder, is this genuine scientific rigor or a veiled effort to bury inconvenient truths that could upend civilization's pedigrees? The retraction, announced in March 2024, struck like a thunderclap, with editors citing a major error in linking radiocarbon dates from soil samples to human artifacts. Critics, including prominent archaeologists like Flint Dibble from Cardiff University, argued that the organic material, charred plants and sediments could have migrated through natural processes like root penetration or water seepage, decoupling them from any man-made structures. In a scathing critique published in Nature, skeptics dissected the geophysical scans, claiming the symmetrical voids were likely volcanic or erosion pockets, not engineered chambers. They pointed to a lack of direct artifacts in the deepest layers. No tools, no bones, no unequivocal signs of habitation, dismissing the pyramid claim as extraordinary assertions, requiring extraordinary evidence, a nod to Carl Sagan's famous dictum. This backlash echoed earlier dismissals. As far back as 2014, Indonesian archaeologists from the Bandung Archaeological Center lambasted the excavation methods, accusing Hillman's team of bypassing standard protocols and risking site integrity for sensationalism. International voices joined the fray, with some labeling the research pseudo-archaeology akin to fringe theories peddled in late-night documentaries. Yet, beneath the surface barbs, a pattern emerges. Many detractors had not visited the site or analyzed raw data, relying instead on second-hand interpretations. Could this haste stem from discomfort with the implications that human ingenuity flourished amidst glaciers, challenging the narrative of post-Ice Age innovation? Hillman and his allies did not retreat quietly. In public statements and interviews, they rebutted the retraction as premature, emphasizing that the journal ignored supplementary evidence submitted during revisions, including detailed seismic profiles showing artificial alignments incompatible with geology. Hillman highlighted the interdisciplinary nature of his work, geologists, physicists, and archaeologists collaborating, contrasting it with critics' armchair analysis. Supporters, including figures like Graham Hancock, framed the episode as emblematic of institutional gatekeeping, where paradigms like the Clovis First model for America's settlement or the gradualism of Neolithic revolutions are fiercely protected. Hancock, in his podcasts and writings, drew parallels to the Sphinx water erosion debate, suggesting entrenched academics fear funding cuts or reputational damage if ancient sophistication is acknowledged. This tension spilled into social media storms, with hashtags like Gunung Padang Truth trending, where amateur sleuths dissected retraction notices, spotting inconsistencies like unaddressed acoustic data. What if the retraction was not about errors, but about preserving a worldview where Egypt holds the pyramid crown and Southeast Asia remains a peripheral player in prehistory? The academic skirmishes culminated in a dramatic pivot, the project's suspension in 2014, a move that shrouded Gunung Padang in renewed mystery. Under President Joko Widodo's incoming administration, excavations halted abruptly, with teams ordered off-site amid claims of procedural irregularities and environmental concerns. Official statements cited a need for re-evaluation, but insiders whispered of political maneuvering. Hillman's findings, backed by the previous regime, clashed with new priorities favoring economic development over potentially disruptive heritage claims. The site's proximity to mining interests in West Java added fuel. Rumors swirled that halting digs prevented declarations of protected status, which could impede resource extraction. Hillman himself, in later reflections, described the suspension as a dark period, where equipment sat idle and data languished, allowing vegetation to reclaim the terraces, as if the mountain conspired to hide its secrets once more. This interlude, lasting nearly a decade, amplified conspiracy narratives. Was it coincidence that the halt followed international media buzz, or did global powers, perhaps through UNESCO or academic lobbies, apply subtle pressure to quash a story threatening Western-centric histories? Fast forward to 2025, and the embers reignite with tantalizing developments that keep the intrigue alive. In January, Indonesian media outlets reported fresh governmental interest, with plans to further investigate the site to uncover its mystery, signaling a thaw in the freeze. By February, Culture Minister Fadli Zon publicly urged renewed studies, framing Gunung Padang as a national treasure, deserving clarity amid ongoing debates. This momentum peaked in July when announcements confirmed staged restoration beginning this year, starting with non-invasive surveys before physical work, a cautious approach that nods to past controversies. Hillman, speaking at events like the Cosmic Summit, expressed optimism, hinting at international collaborations to bolster credibility. Yet the path forward is fraught. An April 2025 article in New Asia Currents detailed persistent backlash, noting how Hillman's claims have halted research multiple times due to mainstream scholars' resistance. Critics demand a global consortium for verification, as suggested in Tempo magazine's January 2024 piece, emphasizing the need for unbiased oversight to settle the controversies on Gunung Padang. These updates stir a cauldron of speculation. Why now after years of stasis? Why now after years of stasis? Some see it as Indonesia asserting cultural sovereignty, leveraging the site to boost tourism and national pride amid economic pressures. Others detect deeper undercurrents, perhaps influenced by viral content like YouTube analyses dissecting the retraction or TikTok clips hyping the oldest pyramid claim. Conspiracy enthusiasts weave elaborate webs. Could shadowy networks tied to pharmaceutical or energy giants fear the site's acoustic and material secrets, leading to breakthroughs in free energy or alternative medicine? Hancock's allies point to Netflix's Ancient Apocalypse backlash as precedent, where similar alternative history was branded dangerous misinformation. Imagine if full reinstatement reveals chambers with star-aligned artifacts. Would it validate Plato's Atlantis as a metaphor for Sunderland's fall, or expose a coordinated effort to rewrite origins? The suspension's legacy endures as a cautionary tale where politics and scholarship entwine, stalling discoveries that might illuminate humanity's resilient spark. Hillman's perseverance amid calls for transparency keeps the door ajar. What suppressed reports linger in archives? Do whistleblowers hold keys to unredacted scans? As restoration phases commence, the academic arena watches warily, poised for either vindication or further feud. This ongoing drama, blending intellectual rigor with shadowy intrigue, beckons us to question whose history we inherit and what forces shape its telling. From these contested grounds, our gaze shifts outward to connections with global enigmas that amplify Gunung Padang's whisper into a roar. As the veil of mystery surrounding Gunung Padang continues to part, revealing glimpses of an audacious past, one cannot help but sense the threads extending far beyond Indonesia's misty jungles, weaving into a tapestry of global enigmas that span oceans and epochs. Imagine, if you will, a hidden network of ancient sentinels, each one a silent witness to a shared saga of human ingenuity. Or perhaps something more profound, a collective memory of cataclysms that reshaped the world. Gunung Padang, with its layered terraces and resonant stones, does not stand alone. It resonates with distant cousins, like the submerged formations of Yonaguni in Japan, the enigmatic pillars of Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, and the spectral legend of the lost continent Mu in the Pacific. These connections, forged through geological echoes, mythological parallels, and controversial theories, beckon us to ponder: are we glimpsing fragments of a precursor civilization, one that flourished during the Ice Age only to vanish beneath waves or sands, leaving cryptic clues for those daring enough to connect the dots? In this exploration, we will traverse these sites not as isolated curiosities, but as interconnected portals, each amplifying the other's secrets and stirring whispers of suppressed knowledge that could redefine our place in the cosmos. Let us first plunge into the azure depths of Yonaguni Island, Japan's southernmost outpost, where the ocean guards a structure that has tantalized divers and scholars since its accidental discovery in 1986 by local fisherman Kihachiro Aratake. What he stumbled upon while scouting for hammerhead sharks was no ordinary reef, a massive underwater edifice resembling a stepped pyramid, complete with flat terraces, sharp-angled stairways, and what appear to be carved gateways, plunging to depths of 30 meters. Measuring roughly 290 meters long and 120 meters wide, this monolith, dubbed the Yonaguni Monument, towers like an 8-story building submerged in time, its surfaces etched with enigmatic markings that some interpret as roads, walls, or even animal motifs. As of April 2025, renewed interest has surged, with reports from outlets like the New York Post and NDTV highlighting debates over whether this is a natural sandstone formation sculpted by currents or a man-made marvel predating Egypt's pyramids by thousands of years. Geologist Masaki Kimura, who led early expeditions from the University of the Ryukyus, argued for human craftsmanship, citing perpendicular cuts and symmetrical features incompatible with wave erosion. Yet skeptics like Boston University's Robert Schoch, ironically a proponent of older Sphinx dates, counter that it is a geological quirk formed during lower sea levels of the last ice age. The intrigue deepens when we link Yonaguni to Gunung Padang, separated by vast Pacific expanses, yet united by uncanny similarities. Both sites feature terrace designs that suggest pyramidal intent, and both date potentially to 20,000 years ago or more, when sea levels were 120 meters lower, exposing land bridges across what is now the ocean. In June 2025, the Brighter Side News reported on Yonaguni's ongoing puzzles, including newly analyzed sonar data revealing possible underwater tunnels mirroring Gunung Padang's subterranean voids. Could these be remnants of a coastal network where ancient mariners navigated from Sunderland, Gunung Padang's Ice Age homeland, to the Ryukyu chain? Theories abound. Some posit acoustic properties similar to Gunung Padang's humming stones, with Yonaguni's formations potentially resonating underwater, perhaps as sonic beacons for navigation or rituals. Conspiracy lenses sharpen the view. Whispers on forums like Reddit suggest governments downplay these links to obscure evidence of extraterrestrial engineering, where star visitors taught harmonic technologies lost in a global deluge. As of July 2025, National Geographic History featured footage of divers exploring Yonaguni's main terrace, sparking viral debates. If this is man-made, does it validate Plato's Atlantis as a metaphor for Pacific catastrophes, or hint at Mu's sunken legacy? The site's submersion around 12,000 years ago aligns with Gunung Padang's deepest layers, evoking a shared fate, rising seas swallowing advanced outposts, leaving survivors to scatter myths of flooded paradises. Shifting our gaze westward to the arid plains of southeastern Turkey, Göbekli Tepe emerges as another pillar in this enigmatic chain, a site that has rewritten prehistory since its excavation began in 1995 under Klaus Schmidt. Theories propose a global diffusion of ideas during the Younger Dryas period, a climatic upheaval around 12,000 years ago triggered by comet impacts, linking these sites through migratory shamans or shared cataclysmic memories. Graham Hancock in his works connects them as outposts of an Ice Age civilization, with Göbekli Tepe's carvings depicting comet swarms that doomed advanced societies. Conspiracy undercurrents intensify. A July 2025 YouTube video titled "Göbekli Tepe Mystery Finally Solved" speculated on hidden chambers containing star maps, suppressed by authorities to conceal links to extraterrestrial origins, mirroring debates over Gunung Padang's retraction. As Daily Sabah noted in July, Göbekli Tepe drew over 3 million visitors since 2019, fueling tourism, but also questions: why the slow pace of digs? Is it preservation or fear of unearthing proofs that hunter-gatherers wielded knowledge rivaling later empires, perhaps inherited from Mu's diaspora? Or Mo, the elusive Pacific continent that binds these threads into a grand speculative web, a landmass theorized by 19th-century explorer Augustus Le Plongeon as the cradle of humanity, inspired by misinterpreted Mayan texts, popularized by James Churchward in the 1920s. Mo was envisioned as a vast realm spanning from Easter Island to Micronesia, home to 64 million souls who mastered levitation, telepathy, and crystal energies before sinking in a cataclysm 50,000 years ago. While geologists dismiss Mo as impossible, continents do not sink like ships per plate tectonics. Its legend persists, fueled by anomalies like Nan Madol's basalt megastructures in Micronesia or Easter Island's Moai statues. In January 2025, RBC Ukraine explored Mo alongside Atlantis and Lemuria, noting how rising seas post-Ice Age submerged lands, lending credence to flood myths. Churchward claimed ancient tablets from India detailed Mu's downfall, survivors fleeing to seed Egypt, Maya, and Asia, echoing Gunung Padang's potential as a Sunderland refuge. The connections crystallize. Mu's theorized extent overlaps Sunderland, Gunung Padang's ancient domain, with Yonaguni as its eastern outpost and Göbekli Tepe as a western echo, perhaps built by Mu refugees navigating via land bridges. A February 2025 Facebook post from MyEscape25 linked Mu to Yonaguni and Nan Madol, suggesting a culture spanning the Pacific, its submersion explaining shared symbols like spirals on Göbekli Tepe pillars and Gunung Padang artifacts. Vocal media in recent articles questioned Mu's dismissal, citing geological evidence of mega tsunamis that could mimic continental sinking. Conspiracy theories thrive. A January 2025 Louis Wolff piece on Lemuria, Mu's cousin, pondered if occult societies hide proofs of advanced Mu tech, like crystal grids linking these sites for global energy networks. Atlas Obscura's archival dive into Lemurian cults reveals ongoing believers who see Mu in sonar anomalies off Hawaii, potentially tying to Yonaguni's structures. These linkages stir profound questions. If Mu existed as a metaphorical or literal hub, did its people encode warnings in Göbekli Tepe's comets or Gunung Padang's resonances, foretelling cycles of destruction? A Reddit thread from July 2025 debated Gunung Padang and Göbekli Tepe as deceptions to hide Mu's reality. While Gaia articles link them as proofs of lost civilizations, Robert Schoch's research highlights intentional burials at both Göbekli Tepe and Gunung Padang, perhaps to safeguard knowledge from prying eyes. As Encyclopedia MDPI notes, lost lands like Mu fuel prehistory's gaps, with Yonaguni's Ice Age origins, bridging to these myths. In this interconnected realm, Gunung Padang emerges as a Pacific Göbekli Tepe, Yonaguni as Mu's drowned sentinel, each site a breadcrumb in a trail leading to forgotten horizons. What submerged archives await off Indonesia's coasts, linking these beacons? As 2025's explorations at Karahan Tepe uncover more and Yonaguni's debates rage in BBC Reels, the puzzle grows. Could Mu's spectre explain shared acoustics from Göbekli Tepe's echoing enclosures to Gunung Padang's humming stones? Or do alien theorists hold the key, positing interstellar origins for these megastructures? The allure lies in the unknowns, inviting us to dream of a world where continents rose and fell, civilizations whispered across seas, and secrets endure in stone and wave, setting the stage for cataclysmic theories that bind them in deluge and rebirth. Beneath the surface of accepted history lies a labyrinth of shadowy narratives, where whispers of colossal floods and vanished empires challenge the very pillars of our understanding. These tales, long pondered not as mere folklore, but as potential echoes of cataclysms that reshaped humanity's trajectory. What if the Great Flood wasn't a singular biblical event, but a recurring cosmic reset, orchestrated or concealed by forces beyond our grasp? And what of the lost civilizations at Atlantis, Mu, Tartaria, whose remnants tease us from ancient texts and anomalous ruins? These conspiracy theories, bubbling up in forums, documentaries, and viral threads, suggest a deliberate erasure, a global elite suppressing evidence of advanced precursors to maintain control over our narrative. One of the most pervasive threads in these theories revolves around the Great Flood as an engineered apocalypse, not a natural disaster. Proponents like Graham Hancock, in his ongoing crusade documented in series like Ancient Apocalypse, argue that around 12,000 years ago, a comet barrage triggered massive ice melts, submerging coastal empires and resetting human progress. But conspiracy circles take it further. This wasn't random chaos, but a targeted Great Reset by extraterrestrial overseers or ancient cabals to cull overly advanced societies. In a July 2025 article from Daily Sabah, Hancock's ideas resurface amid Göbekli Tepe's tourism boom, where carvings of comets and animals are interpreted as warnings of such events. Imagine, if you will, a civilization harnessing free energy through resonant stones like those at Gunung Padang, threatening modern power structures. Theorists on platforms like Reddit claim elites, descendants of flood survivors, hoard this knowledge, using institutions to debunk sites like Yonaguni as natural to prevent rediscovery. A 2025 YouTube video titled "Mud Floods and Hidden Civilizations" explores how entire cities were allegedly buried under liquefied soil from electromagnetic upheavals, not mere water, linking it to Tartarian architecture worldwide. Why bury evidence? To perpetuate dependency on fossil fuels, some say, echoing Tesla's suppressed inventions. Delving into Tartaria, a pseudo-historical empire that has exploded in popularity since 2023, reveals a narrative of mud floods erasing a utopian realm. As detailed in a December 2023 Discover magazine piece, Tartaria, once a vague term for Siberian regions, morphed into a conspiracy of a global superpower with anti-gravity technology and grand spires, wiped out around the 1800s. Believers point to mud flood evidence, buildings with buried lower levels in cities like Chicago or San Francisco, attributed to great fires as cover-ups. A fresh August 2025 update from All That's Interesting describes Tartaria as responsible for landmarks like the U.S. Capitol or Great Wall, built by giants or advanced tech before a cataclysmic deluge of mud liquefied the earth. Connecting to Gunung Padang, theorists speculate its terraces survived as high-ground refuges, while Mu's Pacific expanse, overlapping Sunderland, sank in the same event. Churchward's 1920s claims of Mu's crystal-powered society, detailed in a January 2025 RBC Ukraine article on Lost Continents, suggest survivors fled to Indonesia, seeding Gunung Padang's builders. But here is the hook. Why orphan trains in the 1800s? Conspiracy posts on X from April 2025, like one from Cianjindi, repopulated after Tartaria's fall, with incubator babies at world's fairs showcasing reset humanity. Could this tie to biblical floods, where Noah's Ark was a genetic vault preserving DNA from pre-deluge giants? Atlantis, Plato's sunken utopia, intertwined seamlessly, often conflated with Mo or Tartaria in modern lore. A Guardian article from 2022, still referenced in 2025 debates, critiques Netflix's Ancient Apocalypse for fueling dangerous myths. Yet, Hancock's October 2024 YouTube interview insists Atlantis was a real Ice Age empire destroyed by floods from comet impacts. Linking to Göbekli Tepe, a July 26, 2025, W report notes its age fuels conspiracies of flood survivors building it as a memorial, with pillars encoding star maps of the catastrophe. Theorists on X, in a June 2025 post from von Brockman, highlight archaeological finds in Gujarat's Kutch region, evidence of Vedic civilization drowned over 12,000 years ago as proof of global deluges erasing advanced cultures. What if Atlantis's evil wind in ancient texts was radiation from solar flares accompanying floods, as Ben Davidson proposes? A 2023 How Stuff Works piece on flood myths across cultures. Sumerian Gilgamesh, Hindu Manu, Greek Deucalion suggests a shared trauma perhaps engineered to prevent overpopulation. The conspiracy escalates. An ABC News 2012 interview with Robert Ballard, finder of the Titanic, claims Black Sea evidence of Noah's flood as a real event around 7,000 years ago, but theorists extend it to multiple resets. The disappearance of these civilizations fuels darker speculations, intentional vanishing acts by elites or aliens. In a 2025 X thread from @AdjacentWild, myths are reframed as true histories of star gods intervening post-flood, teaching survivors at sites like Gunung Padang, Tartaria's mud floods, per Wikipedia's entry on its pseudo-history, are seen as electromagnetic weapons melting soil, burying free energy grids. An August 2025 X post from @UBLESLA show claims coastal giants lie 400 feet underwater since the Younger Dryas, with inland survivors like Gunung Padang's builders. Mass downfall, as per local media, involved tsunamis mimicking sinking, survivors seeding Yonaguni steps. Why lost? To hide anti-gravity, telepathy or DNA experiments, say theorists, linking to Giza's underground city. In a July 2025 Answers in Genesis article, Hancock's War on Archaeologists, per a 2022 Conversation piece, accuses suppression to protect Darwinian gradualism. Recent 2025 stirrings heightened the enigma. A New Asia Currents article questions why Gunung Padang's debates halt research, implying cover-ups for flood proofs. An ex-post from @FMT in August speculates Indian history's gaps from deliberate plagues post-flood. Atlantis Theories on History.com lists 6 possibilities, including Minoan Crete, but conspiracists favor Antarctic locations, thawed by shifts. KU's John Hoops in Kansas Alumni Magazine warns of pseudoscience's dangers, yet admits flood evidence mounts. A 2025 X-post from @Faskawan claims Tartaria built Giza and the Great Wall, submerged in mud. Another from @Nelly urges focus on Younger Dryas impacts over UFOs. These conspiracies tantalize with possibilities. What if floods are cyclical? Next too soon, as Davidson warns. Or if elites descend from Moose royals, using FEMA camps as modern arks. Gunung Padang's survival hints at deliberate high-ground choices, while Yonaguni's depths guard Moose gates, Göbekli Tepe's burials hiding from post-flood hunters. Do magnetic anomalies at these sites signal energy grids reactivating? As 2025 unfolds with new digs, perhaps truth surface or sink deeper into shadow. This web of deluges and disappearances leads us to reflections on history's implications, where lost worlds mirror our fragile present. As our nocturnal journey through the enigmas of Gunung Padang nears its culmination, a profound sense of wonder pervades, prompting reflection on the far-reaching ripples this ancient enigma casts across the waters of modern history. What does a hill in West Java potentially harboring the echoes of a 28,000-year-old civilization signify for our contemporary understanding of humanity's journey? It is not merely an archaeological curiosity, it is a mirror held up to our own era, forcing us to confront the fragility of our grasp on the past, and how that fragility shapes our present and future in an age of rapid technological advancement and global interconnectedness. Sites like Gunung Padang challenge the linear narrative we have constructed, from primitive hunters to enlightened modernity. If Dr. Danny Hillman Natawijaja's findings hold even a kernel of truth, they suggest cycles of rise and fall, where advanced societies bloomed and withered long before recorded time, perhaps due to cataclysms we have only begun to comprehend. This is not just about rewriting textbooks, it is about re-evaluating our resilience in the face of climate shifts, pandemics, and societal upheavals that echo those ancient floods. Consider the implications for historical equity in our globalized world. For decades, the cradle of civilization has been pinned to Mesopotamia or the Nile Valley, with Southeast Asia often relegated to the periphery, a land of later influences from India or China. Yet, Gunung Padang flips this script, positioning Indonesia as a potential epicenter of early human innovation. As Culture Minister Fadli Zon urged in February 2025, renewed studies could elevate the site to a symbol of national pride, boosting tourism and cultural identity in a post-colonial landscape. By July 2025, the Indonesian government announced plans to restore Gunung Padang in stages, starting with non-invasive surveys before excavation, a move that could transform it into a UNESCO contender and inject economic vitality into local communities. But herein lies the intrigue. Does this restoration signal a genuine quest for truth, or a calculated pivot amid ongoing debates? Social media buzz, like a March 2025 viral image falsely depicting the site as a pristine pyramid bursting from the jungle, underscores how misinformation can amplify public fascination while muddying scholarly waters. In a world grappling with fake news and AI-generated content, Gunung Padang becomes a litmus test for discerning fact from fiction, reminding us that history is not static, it is a living dialogue shaped by who controls the narrative. On a broader canvas, the site's acoustic anomalies and ancient cement formulations whisper possibilities for sustainable innovation today. If those stones truly resonate at frequencies aligning with human consciousness or geomagnetic fields, as preliminary tests suggest, could they inspire breakthroughs in renewable energy or wellness technologies? In our era of climate anxiety, where rising seas threaten coastal cities much like the submergence of Sunderland, Gunung Padang offers a poignant metaphor, a high-ground survivor amidst deluges. Recent 2025 discussions on platforms like X highlight this, with users speculating on how the site's piezoelectric properties, generating electricity from vibrations, might parallel modern quartz technology in solar panels or medical devices. Yet, the retracted 2023 paper lingers as a cautionary tale, retracted not for flawed data, but interpretive overreach, prompting questions about academic freedom in an interconnected world where funding and politics intersect. As Hillman pushes forward with new collaborations, including potential international teams for the 2025 digs, we must ask, will these efforts unveil chambers holding blueprints for lost technologies, or reinforce the site's status as a natural wonder enhanced by later megalithic additions? This re-evaluation extends to our philosophical moorings. In a time when artificial intelligence blurs human creativity and ancient aliens theories gain traction on streaming platforms, Gunung Padang invites us to question origins. Were our ancestors guided by extraterrestrial intellects, as some X-threads in 2025 propose, linking the site to Mu's crystal grids, or does it affirm humanity's innate genius, capable of monumental feats without external aid? The site's potential as the oldest pyramid, as debated in a February 2025 Snopes fact-check debunking exaggerated claims, challenges Darwinian gradualism, suggesting leaps in cognition tied to environmental pressures like the Younger Dryas cold snap. Amid 2025's global uncertainties from geopolitical tensions to AI ethics, Gunung Padang serves as a humbling reminder. Civilizations rise, innovate, and sometimes vanish, leaving us to piece together their lessons. If restoration uncovers DNA from ancient builders, as speculated in recent Jakarta Post articles, it could trace migrations that rewrite human ancestry, connecting us more intimately to those Ice Age innovators. But the true allure lies in the open questions that Gunung Padang poses, questions that keep one awake in contemplation. What cataclysm, comet strike, solar flare or engineered reset truly erased the builder's legacy? And could similar forces loom today? As ex-user Samo Berger noted in August 2025, new digs seem imminent, potentially uncovering more layers, despite the retraction's shadow. Why do acoustic tests at the site evoke modern sound therapy? And might they hold keys to mental health solutions in our stressed society? If the cement's geopolymer secrets are unlocked, as hinted in 2025, Berita Nacional reports on the site's durability. Could they revolutionize eco-friendly construction amidst our housing crisis? And in linking to Yonaguni or Göbekli Tepe, does Gunung Padang hint at a prehistoric internet of knowledge shared across continents before writing existed? These inquiries extend to ethics. Should we excavate fully, risking damage to a sacred indigenous site revered as the mountain of enlightenment, or preserve its mysteries for future generations? Local Sundanese communities, as discussed in 2025 Antara News updates, view it as a spiritual nexus where rituals continue amid restoration plans. In our diverse world, balancing science with cultural respect becomes paramount. Moreover, if Gunung Padang proves a pyramid older than Giza, as Phys.org revisited in 2023 claims echoed in 2025, it democratizes history, empowering marginalized regions to claim their heritage. Are we truly ready for truths that dismantle egos and economies built on outdated paradigms? These lingering ponderings, seeds for dreams where past and present intertwine, define Gunung Padang. It is not just a relic, it is a catalyst for introspection in our fast-paced modernity, urging us to question, explore, and perhaps rediscover lost wisdom. What undiscovered chambers in our own history await? As restoration begins in 2025, per Java Private Tours optimistic reports, the answers may soon surface or deepen the mystery. In the quiet hours ahead, these questions can guide one's slumber, for in mystery lies the spark of enlightenment. As this odyssey draws to a close, a profound sense of wonder settles, like a soft blanket of night. We have traversed the misty jungles of West Java, unearthed layers of ancient stone that whisper of forgotten epochs, and connected this enigmatic hill to a global web of mysteries from the submerged steppes of Yonaguni to the carved pillars of Göbekli Tepe, and even the spectral legends of lost continents like Mu. Along the way, we have grappled with groundbreaking research from Dr. Danny Hillman Natawijaja, navigated the stormy seas of academic debates, and pondered the tantalizing artifacts that hint at technologies lost to time, resonant stones humming with unexplained frequencies, ancient cements binding secrets in their matrix, and coins predating known economies by millennia. But beyond the facts and controversies lies the true essence of this journey, a reminder that history is not a closed book, but an ever-unfolding scroll, inviting us to question, dream, and seek the truths hidden in the shadows of the past. In this conclusion, let us absorb the profound implications uncovered. Gunung Padang stands as a sentinel against the arrogance of modernity, challenging us to reconsider humanity's timeline. If its deepest layers truly date back 28,000 years, as Hillman's geophysical scans suggest, it shatters the notion of linear progress, proposing instead cycles of brilliance and oblivion. We have seen how this site echoes global flood myths, from Noah's Ark to the Epic of Gilgamesh, potentially memorializing real cataclysms like the Younger Dryas event that reshaped our world 12,000 years ago. The acoustic anomalies, stones vibrating at 440 Hz, aligning with ancient harmonics, evoke possibilities of lost sciences, sonic levitation for construction or energy harnessing that could inspire today's renewable innovations. And the 2025 updates only heighten the intrigue. In January, the Indonesian government pledged further archaeological missions to unearth its mysteries, followed by Culture Minister Fadli Zon's February call for renewed studies, amid heated debates. By July, plans were announced to restore the site in stages, beginning with non-invasive surveys before physical work, as reported by Antara News. A March YouTube update from a PhD scientist delved into the ongoing controversy, suggesting mainstream archaeology resistance might stem from paradigm-shifting fears. Even viral images falsely portraying the site as a pristine pyramid emerging from the jungle, debunked in March, underscore the public's insatiable curiosity. These developments, unfolding right now in 2025, position Gunung Padang as a living mystery, one that could soon yield new chambers, artifacts, or even DNA traces, rewriting our ancestry. Yet, as captivating as these revelations are, they leave more questions than answers, lulling the mind into contemplative repose. What cataclysm truly buried these ancient builders? Comet impacts, rising seas, or something more orchestrated? If the site's energies align with Earth's magnetic fields, could they hold keys to healing or free power in our energy-hungry world? And why the persistent pushback? From the 2024 paper Retraction to halted digs in 2014, mere academic caution, or a deeper agenda to safeguard secrets that might disrupt societal foundations? In linking to Yonaguni's underwater terraces, potentially 20,000 years old, or Göbekli Tepe's 11,000-year-old enclosures, Gunung Padang hints at a prehistoric network, shared knowledge diffused across now-drowned lands, perhaps from Mu's fabled realm. As restoration progresses this year, per the government's July pledge, we stand on the brink. Will it confirm a natural formation enhanced by megalithic additions, or unveil proofs of an Ice Age empire? These open enigmas invite visions of terraced pyramids under starlit skies, where the past whispers guidance for an uncertain future. Sleep well, dream deeply, and until the next mystery unfolds.